Today we will solve O-Level Physics 5054, Paper 1, Variant 2, May June 19 and questions from 21 to question number 40. From 1 to question number 20 we have already solved. Now we will move to question number 21. Question number 21. Which statement is correct? Option A. Infrared radiation cannot travel in a vacuum. Option B. Infrared radiation cannot travel in solids or in gases. Option C. Infrared radiation cannot travel in a vacuum. Option D. Infrared radiations can travel in a vacuum and in gases. Infrared radiations are electromagnetic waves that can travel both in a vacuum and in a material medium. So option D is the correct option. Infrared radiation can travel in a vacuum and in gases. Question number 22. How is latent heat defined? Okay, first we check what is meant by latent heat. Here we have taken some ice at a temperature of minus 20 degrees centigrade. We have supplied some heat to the piece of ice so its temperature will rise, and at a temperature of 0 degrees centigrade the ice will start melting. Now as long the ice is melting, ice is converting into water, its temperature will not rise. So whatever be the amount of heat that we are providing to the piece of ice at 0 degrees centigrade is utilized to convert it from solid to a liquid state without change in any temperature. So whatever be the amount of heat we are providing here without any change in temperature is called latent heat. Okay, one thing more. Suppose if we take the piece of ice of 1 kg or of a unit mass, then whatever be the amount of heat we will provide will be known as specific latent heat. So there is a small difference in between specific latent heat and latent heat. In specific latent heat we have to take unit mass, and in latent heat we can take any mass of the substance. Okay, go back to our question. Option A. The thermal energy absorbed or emitted by unit mass during a change of state without a temperature change. Okay, here the word is used unit mass, so it is specific latent heat, it is not latent heat, so option A is incorrect. Option B. The thermal energy absorbed or emitted by unit mass during unit temperature change. In latent heat, there is no rise in temperature, there is no change in temperature, so option B is also incorrect. Option C. The thermal energy absorbed or emitted during a change of state without a temperature change. Yes, it is the correct option because just we have studied that latent heat is the amount of heat provided to the system when it is converting from one state to another state without changing any temperature. Okay, next question, question number 23. In low pressure hydrogen, there are no forces between the molecules except during collisions with each other. Which statement describes the motion of a molecule between one collision and the next? Okay, the topic is related with kinetic molecular theory. In kinetic molecular theory, we have studied the molecules of a gas move in a straight line without any force of attraction or repulsion between them, and velocity of the molecules always remains constant. Now we read our options. Option A, it moves with changing speed. No, it cannot be. It always moves with a constant speed. Option B, it moves with changing speed, again changing speed, and we have studied that the molecules moves with a constant speed, so option B is incorrect. Option C, it moves with constant speed and continuously changes direction. No, it moves in a straight line, so option C is also not possible. Now option D, it moves with constant speed in a straight line. Yes, it is the correct option. The molecules of a gas always move in a straight line with a constant speed. Okay, next question. Next question 24. A gas is enclosed in a container of fixed volume. The gas gains heat energy from an external source. What happens to the molecules of the gas? Okay, first we read the options. Option A, they expand. Option B, they move faster inside the container. Option C, they move further apart. Option D, they vibrate with greater frequency. Okay, when we provide heat to a gas, its kinetic energy increases. Kinetic energy of the molecules of the gas increases, and kinetic energy is given as half mv square. So we can say with the change in kinetic energy, with the increase in kinetic energy, its velocity also increases. So with the change in velocity, with the increase in velocity of the molecules, we can say the molecules will move faster inside the container. So option B is the correct option. Next question, question number 25. A wave on water travels toward a stationary board. Here is some waves, and waves are traveling toward a stationary board. As the wave passes, the board starts to move up and down and gains kinetic energy from the wave. Which property of the wave changes as the wave passes the board? Okay, when the wave passes the board absorbs energy of the wave. Now, with the absorption of energy from the wave, we can say energy of the wave is decreased, and energy and amplitude are related to each other. With the increase of energy, amplitude increases, and with the decrease in energy, amplitude decreases. So here energy is decreasing, so we can say amplitude will also be decreased. Now the options. Okay, which property of the wave changes as the wave passes the board? So amplitude will be changed when when the wave passes the board. So our option is option A. A is the correct answer. Next question. Question number 26. Which waves are longitudinal? Option A, gamma rays. Option B, light waves. Option C, ultrasound waves. Option D, X-rays. Okay, here the waves in option A, B and D are electromagnetic waves, and electromagnetic waves are always transverse waves. So the only remaining option is option C, ultrasound waves. So ultrasound waves are the longitudinal waves. Question number 27. An object is placed at a distance from a converging lens that is equal to twice the focal length of the lens. Which statement about the image is correct? Option A, it is enlarged. No, when we keep an object in front of a converging lens at a distance of 2f, at a distance of twice the focal length, image is formed at a distance of 2f on the opposite side of the converging lens, and this image will be real and inverted. In converging lens, the image form is real and inverted. Now we read our options. Option A, it is enlarged. No, it will be equal. Option B, it is inverted. Yes, it will be inverted. Option C, it is on the same side. No, in converging lens, image is formed on the opposite side. Option D, it is virtual. No, in converging lens, image is real. So correct option is option B. Question number 28. The lens in the diagram produces an image I of the object O. Okay, here is an object O and here is an image I. It is formed because of this converging lens. Okay, why is this not the ray diagram for the photographic enlarger? Okay, in a photographic enlarger, the image form is always real. Here in the option B, it is given the image is virtual. So option B is the correct option. It cannot be virtual. Question number 29. What is the approximate range of audible frequency for a healthy human ear? Okay, the audible range for a human healthy ear is 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. it is 20 cycle per second to 20,000 cycle per second. In other words, we can say it is equal to 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So correct option is option C. Question number 30. The speed of sound in air is Ca, the speed of sound in water is Cw, and speed of sound in ice is Ci. Which relationship is correct? Okay, the speed of sound in solids is maximum and in gases it is minimum. Now here we read our options. Here it is given Ca is greater than Ci. Ca is sound in air, means it is sound in gas and it is sound in solid. So it cannot be. Ca is greater than Cw. What is Ca? Ca is sound in air, sound in gas. It is more than sound in water. No, it cannot be. Option C. Ci is greater than Cw. Yes, it is correct because Ci is speed of sound in solid and Cw is speed of sound in a liquid. So speed of sound in solid is more than speed of sound in water. So option C is the correct option. Next question. Question number 31. One end of each two bars is marked with an X or a Y as shown. We have two bars, bar 1 and bar 2. On bar 1 it is marked X, on bar 2 it is marked Y. End X of bar 1 is brought close to the north pole and then to the south pole of a magnet. End Y of bar 2 is brought close to the north pole and then to the south pole of the magnet. The table shows what happens. Okay, it is bar 1 and X of bar 1, it is and Y of bar 2. When it is taken close to north pole, bar 1 is attracted and bar 2 is also attracted. When taken close to the south pole, bar 1 is attracted and bar 2 is repelled. Okay, what material are bar 1 and bar 2 made from? Okay, suppose it is a permanent magnet. Here it is north pole of the magnet. Here it is south pole of the magnet. It is bar 1. When we take bar 1 close to the north pole, it is attracted. Then again, when we will take this bar 1 near the south pole, it is again attracted. Now bar 2, when we take bar 2 near the north pole, it is bar 2. When we will take near the north pole, it is attracted. And we will take to the south pole, it is repelled. It is attracted, it is repelled. Now we can say bar 1 is a temporary magnet because it is attracted at both the poles. Bar 2 is a permanent magnet because it is attracted at north pole and it is repelled at the south pole. And for the permanent magnet, it is a condition that it should be attracted at one pole and it should be repelled at the other pole. So we can say bar 1 is a temporary magnet, bar 2 is a permanent magnet. Now for the temporary magnet, it is made from a soft iron piece, and for a permanent magnet, it is made from a steel, from a piece of steel. So we can say the temporary magnet bar 1, it is from iron, bar 2, it is permanent magnet, it is from steel. So option B is the correct option. Next question, question number 32. The diagram shows a car ignition switch and a starter motor. Okay, it is a car ignition switch with a starter motor. The ignition switch is in a circuit with long thin wires. The wires connected with the ignition switch are thin and long wires. These wires connected to the ignition switch are thin and long. The starter motor is in a circuit with short and thick wires. The wires connected with the motor are thick and short. These wires are connected to the motor. What is the explanation for the choice of the wires? Option A. Each circuit needs to contain the same total mass of wire. It is irrelevant. It is not related to magnetism or electricity. So option A is not possible. Option B. Thicker wires heat up more quickly. No. If the wires are thick, if the cross-sectional area of the wire is more, it can absorb, it can sustain more heat. So it cannot heat up quickly. Option C, thin wires have lower resistances. No, if the wires are thin, resistance is increased. Resistance is more in thin wires. So option C is also incorrect. Option D, the ignition switch circuit carries a smaller current than the starter motor circuit. Yes, it is correct. In ignition switch, the amount of current is smaller, so no need for the thicker wire. Thin wire is enough. And in the starter motor, large amount of current is required, so cross-sectional area of the wire should be more, should be greater. So we can say option D is the correct option. Next question, question number 33. The diagram shows a simple circuit. What happens when the resistance of the variable resistor is increased? Okay, here is a circuit in which two lamps are connected in series. There is a variable resistor and a motor, all are connected in series. Now we read our options. Option A, the lamp are dimmer and the motor rotates more quickly. Okay, here it is given what happens when the resistance of the variable resistor is increased. When we increase the resistance, the current will be decreased. And when current will be decreased, definitely power will be decreased. When power will be decreased, the lamps will be dim and the motor will rotate slowly. So option A is not possible. It is written here the lamps are dimmer and the motor rotates more quickly. No, motor will rotate slowly. So option A is not possible. Option B, the lamps are dimmer and the motor rotates more slowly. Yes, it is the correct option because with the decrease in current, both the lamps will be dim and the motor will rotate slowly. So correct option is option B. 34. The diagram shows a simple electrical circuit. Which statement cannot be correct? Option A, the current I is 2 ampere. Option B, the EMF E is 12 joule. Option B is incorrect because in the option B it is given the EMF E is 12 joules. Here the unit of EMF is given joule. The unit of EMF is not joule, it is volt. So option B is incorrect option. So option B is the correct option. It cannot be. Here it is written which statement cannot be correct. So option B cannot be correct. Next question, question number 35. The cable of an electric cooker contains a live wire, a neutral wire and an earth wire. When the cooker is working correctly, in which wires are the currents equal? A, the live, the neutral and the earth. B, the live and the earth only. C, the neutral and the earth only. D, the neutral and the live only. Okay, the earth wire is used for the safety purpose and in the earth wire current passes only when there is a short circuit. So current will pass in a normal circuit when the circuit is working correctly, the current will pass only in the neutral wire and in the live wire and the amount of current in the live wire is equal to neutral wire. So our correct option is option D, the neutral and the live only. Question number 36. The manufacturer of an electrical heater states that only one heater must be connected to the mains wiring through the fuse. Okay, the current in the circuit with only one heater is 9 ampere, the fuse rating is 10 ampere. Okay, the heater is working on the 9 ampere, the heater is drawing a current of 9 ampere and fuse we have used here 10 ampere. It is okay. Despite the warning, a second identical heater is added as shown. Okay, we have added one more heater. When the switch is closed, the fuse blows. When the switch is closed, the fuse blows. The fuse is replaced with a 20 ampere fuse. Then we replace the fuse by a 20 ampere fuse. What happens when the switch is closed? Okay, the first option, option A, each heater only receive half of the correct current? No. Fuse we are using of 20 ampere. The current is flowing here up to 20 ampere, so it can draw a current of 9 ampere. It can draw a current of 9 ampere, so it will not receive the current half of the correct current. It will receive the same amount of current. In option B, each heater receives the twice the correct current. No, it will receive the same amount of current. Option C, the circuit wiring connecting the heater to the mains may overheat. Yes, it is correct, because these wires are designed for a specific amount of current. Sorry, if amount of current will be increased, then these wires will draw the more current, and it will it may be heated. So option C is the correct option. The circuit wiring connecting the heater to the main may overheat. Okay, next question. Now next question number 37. A coil is rotating in a magnetic field. The coil is connected to an oscilloscope. The diagram shows the trace on the screen of the oscilloscope. Okay, it is a trace that we receive on the oscilloscope. The coil now speeds up and rotates twice as fast. Okay, we have increased its speed. We have increased the speed up to twice. Okay, when we have increased the speed up to twice, its frequency will be increased and its amplitude will be increased. Its frequency will be doubled and also its amplitude will be doubled. Okay, now we will check our options. In option A, frequency is doubled but amplitude is not doubled. Here, amplitude is approximately equal to 2 squares. Here also the amplitude is equal to 2 squares, so we can say amplitude is not increased here. So option A is not possible. Now in the option B, we are looking that amplitude is equal to approximately 4 squares. So amplitude is doubled here. What about the frequency? Here we are looking the wavelength of one wave is equal to approximately 2 squares. Here wavelength is equal to 4 squares. So here we are looking that wavelength is half. Wavelength is half means frequency is doubled. So option B is the correct option, because in this option frequency is doubled and also amplitude is doubled. Next question number 38. A teacher uses the circuit shown. Okay, it is a circuit. Here we have two lamps, one lamp X, second lamp Y. The identical lamps X and Y are connected to a low voltage AC power supply by high resistance transmission wire. Both lamps are switched on. Okay, we have switched on both the lamps. What happens to the voltage and the power supplied to the lamp? Lamp X is then switched off. Okay, lamp X is then switched off. Lamp Y stays switched on. Okay, this lamp we have switched off, but this lamp is still switched on. What happens to the voltage and the power supplied to the lamp Y? Okay, when the lamp X is switched off, whatever be the EMF at the supply will be utilized by this lamp Y. So we can say voltage of this Y will be increased, because whatever be the voltage here in the battery, in the power supply, that will be consumed by this lamp Y. So we can say voltage of Y will be increased. Now power is given as product of voltage into current. When voltage will increase, definitely power will be increased. So we can say both voltage and power will be increased when we will switch off the lamp X. Now we read our options. The voltage supplied to the lamp Y, it will increase. The power supply to the lamp Y, it will increase. So option C is the correct option. Voltage supplied to lamp Y increases. The power supplied to lamp Y increases. Question number 39. A car battery supplies a current in one direction. A current in the opposite direction recharges the battery. Which circuit recharges the battery using an alternating current supply and a diode? Okay, we have here four options, option A, B, C and D. In option C and D, the diode is connected in parallel. It cannot be connected in parallel. We have to connect it in series, because if we connect this one in parallel, when the current will reach at the node, it will be distributed toward the power supply and the battery. So this arrangement is not possible. Same thing for D. This arrangement is not possible. So our possible options are A and B. Now this diode, on this side it is called forward bias, in this side it is called reverse bias, means the current will flow in one direction. Current will flow in this case from AC power supply towards the battery. In this case also current will move in one direction. It will move from the battery to the power supply. So in this case, diode is supplying the energy or current towards the AC supply. Here the diode is supplying the current or the energy towards the battery side. It is taking the current from the AC supply and it is transferring to the battery. So it will charge the battery. So we can say the correct option is option A. Question number 40. A proton has charge q and mass m. What is the charge and what is the mass of an alpha particle? Okay, alpha particle is a helium nucleus. Helium nucleus means its atomic number is 2 and mass number is 4. Okay, now atomic number means charge number. Charge number of alpha particle is 2q and mass number is 4. So we can say mass number is 4m. So correct option is option C, because it has two protons. So charge is 2q and it has total number of nucleons 4. So we can say its mass is 4 times of this mass m. Okay, so correct option is option C. Now we have completed up to question number 40. So today we have completed this 5054 paper 1 variant 2 May June 19. Thank you very much.